As India's Prime Minister Modi departed for a highly significant BRICS summit in Russia, there was another bombshell development. In a huge geopolitical victory for the Modi government, the Indian military and the Chinese PLA have reached an agreement on border patrolling issues along the line of actual control, or the LAC, in Ladakh. New Delhi has hinted how China has agreed to Indian demands regarding the unmarked 3,500-kilometer-long border between the nuclear neighbors. So has China backed off in this bitter border standoff with India? EAM Jaishankar explained, quote, "We reached an agreement on patrolling and we had gone back to 2020 position. With that, we can say disengagement with China has been completed. Details will come out in due course. There are areas which, for reasons after 2020, they blocked us. We blocked them. We have now reached an understanding which will allow patrolling as we had been doing till 2020, unquote." Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri announced, quote, "We have reached an agreement with China on the issues being discussed. As a result of the discussions that have taken place over the last several weeks, an agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border area, and this is leading to disengagement and eventually a resolution of the issues that had arisen in these areas in 2020, unquote. Now, this huge development sets the stage for a potential high-profile bilateral meeting between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit in Russia this week. While it's yet unclear whether the PLA has also agreed to withdraw from final two friction points at Demchok and Depsang plains at the LAC in Ladakh, an agreement on equal patrolling rights, which India had been demanding all along, is surely a major victory for India's foreign policy. Now the world watches with bated breath as leaders of the world's two fastest growing large economies and biggest militaries, Modi and Xi Jinping, are set to travel to Russia at the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin this week. Modi and Xi will share the stage at the BRICS Summit in Kazan, Russia from October 22nd to 23rd. The anticipation is palpable, with Prime Minister Modi scheduled for several bilateral talks with BRICS leaders. Now, there's speculation that he may also engage with Xi Jinping after this LAC agreement. The Ministry of External Affairs confirmed, quote, "During his visit, the Prime Minister is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts from BRICS member countries and invited leaders in Kazan, Russia," unquote. Now, after the LAC patrolling agreement, a formal meeting which PM Modi has avoided with China since 2020 cannot be ruled out. Historically, Modi and Xi have not held any formal meetings since the Chinese PLA made aggressive moves to alter the status quo at the LAC in eastern Ladakh in 2020. Their only interactions in recent years have been brief, occurring at the G20 summit in Bali in November 2022 and then the BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa in August 2023. During those summits, both leaders agreed to enhance efforts to resolve the ongoing military standoff at the LAC. Meanwhile, the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force have adeptly managed to counter Chinese salami-slicing tactics at the LAC. Any move towards diplomacy or normalcy before now might have been misrepresented or misinterpreted by the Chinese Communist Party as a sign of weakness from India. For Modi, the stakes have been incredibly high. A bilateral meeting with Xi Jinping before a border agreement and return to status quo might have been perceived as an acceptance of the new normal at the border, where tensions continue to simmer at critical friction points like Depsang and Demchok. So would a meeting between Modi and Xi now signal a shift in strategy for India? Or should India maintain its tough stance against Chinese provocations? Given that the Indian Army has successfully compelled the PLA to withdraw from contested areas in the past, including Gogra Hot Springs in 2022, the Modi government must carefully weigh its options. The deadly clashes in June 2020 resulted in the deaths of at least 20 Indian soldiers as well as 30+ PLA troops, according to US intelligence. The situation along the LAC has been anything but stable, with minor confrontations like the one witnessed in Tawang a few months later. Although both sides have engaged in 21 rounds of Corps Commander level talks at the LAC, a lasting resolution had remained elusive till now. The Indian Army has emphasized the importance of maintaining a robust presence at the LAC until conditions stabilize. Indian Army Chief Upendra Dwivedi recently remarked that while the situation at the LAC is stable, it is far from normal. Now, his insights underscore a broader concern that despite official statements about peace, the reality on the ground is fraught with tension. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in the past labelled India-China relations as significantly disturbed. Meanwhile, India cannot afford to relax even after status quo is restored. Chinese President Xi Jinping's expansionist ambitions remain quite clear. Just recently, the PLA simulated surrounding and invading Taiwan. A few days later, Xi Jinping again shocked the world when he demanded the PLA rocket force or missile force to boost its combat capabilities. India must remain on its guard as the PLA has also been building new military bases in Tibet. So what's the role of BRICS in this India-China equation? The summit, hosted by Russian President Vladimir Putin, aims to strengthen the economic and political clout of BRICS nations, which now also includes Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the UAE. The grouping serves as a counterweight to Western influence, a notion that resonates deeply within the current geopolitical landscape. However, the summit unfolds, the drive to de-dollarize global trade is also expected to be a hot topic. This initiative aims to reduce reliance on the US dollar in international transactions, a proposal that Russia and China are actively supporting, but India remains cautious. Jaishankar clarified that India does not actively target the dollar as part of its economic strategy, saying, quote, India has never actively targeted the dollar. It's not part of our economic, political or strategic policy. Some others may have done so. What I will say is that we have a natural concern, unquote. As Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, along with BRICS leaders, gather in Kazan, Russia, the world will be watching closely. The outcome of these potential discussions could have significant implications, not just for India and China, not only for India and China border tensions, but for the geopolitical landscape of the entire Indo-Pacific as a whole. Recent accusations without any hard evidence against Indian diplomats by Canada and USA has soured the India-West alliance, and BRICS may see this as the right opportunity to once again lure India firmly into the bloc. So do you believe Prime Minister Modi should meet Xi Jinping at the BRICS Summit? Leave a comment with your opinion and subscribe to Inconnect News for more defense updates and geopolitics.